Hi flower friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm, and today I wanted to catch up with Sunflower Steve. It's been a while since Sunflower Steve was on my channel. Steve is a cut flower grower who's been in the business for more than 20 years. He has a cut flower farm in Wisconsin. He considers himself to be small scale, but he's much bigger than I am. He does almost exclusively wholesale work, but Steve for the past 15 years now has been developing a breed of sunflowers, and he's done this by collecting seeds from a very unusual sunflower that grew in his field one day. Years and years and years later, he has developed the Sunflower Steve Seed Company. I first introduced you guys to Steve a couple of years ago, and things have been just kind of exploding for him and his seed company, and I'm really excited to bring you guys an update from Steve. So I'm gonna hop on a Zoom meeting, and Steve and I are just gonna chat about everything that's been going on lately and an update on when you guys can expect to see his seeds. So let's chat with Steve. Let's just dive right in. Hi, Steve.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you. Bye.
Now, I'm going to tell 100% truth right now. Steve and I just recorded, and it didn't record. So we're trying again.
Yeah, I see a little red dot right here. So it says we're recording.
I'm a professional videographer.
I can tell.
Thank you.
That's why you own a nursery.
That's right. Just because you have a degree in something doesn't mean you're real good at it.
Nope.
So catch everybody up. What's been going on? First of all, tell us just a brief history about your background. And then I want to know what you've been doing lately.
Sure. So, I mean, if you want to get the full story, Nicole can link some of the interviews we had before, like when we first met and how we first met and how I got the name Sunflower Steve, because I didn't give it to myself. But it's actually kind of cool if you think about it, Nicole, the fact that you gave me that as a nickname. Now it is, now it's my logo.
Yes, that's my new favorite shirt right there.
Sunflower Steve Seed Company. And also a quick background. Like I say, you can go to the other links if you want to see those. How we, the whole history of it. But basically, I've been a cut flower grower for 22 years, and it's evolved over time. Hey, Moon, how you doing, Moon? Moon and you. And it's evolved over time. And in 2008, I discovered a double flowering multicolored sunflower in a field that it should not have been growing in. It was a field that was idling at the time. I was just growing a cover crop there. And I went over and there's about a dozen flowers growing there. And I was perplexed because everything I grow is F1 hollow sterile hybrids. So how could there even be any flowers there? And I didn't have a snippers with me. So thank goodness I wasn't able to cut it down. A few weeks later, I saw it again and realized it was too late to cut down then because it was too raggy looking. So I just kind of, curiosity made me think, well, I wonder if it has any flowers, because the entire face was covered in petals. So how could it possibly have flowers if all the reproductive parts are covered in petals? And you really couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you couldn't see any. You couldn't see any pollen. So lo and behold, I collected it, and there was 572 seeds total, and 12 of them actually had a nut inside them. I could feel a germ in there. So I kind of putzed around with them for a few years, and after about 4 or 5 years, I thought, hey, cool, I got a really cool flower that nobody else has. So I'm going to blow my competition away over in the Twin Cities. We grow between 2008 and 2012. We grew between 250 and 300,000 sunflowers a year. That's what we grew. We harvested between 150 and 200,000 to sell to the Twin Cities market. And then from 2016 on, we planted about 400,000 sunflowers, succession plantings, 12 weeks of succession plantings. And
which we have videos of you doing. So if people want to see how you do that, we can show those videos. Yes.
Yeah. Enter 2019. You and I met via the internet. Again, strange happenstance. I wasn't even looking at gardening stuff. Somehow your thing came up in the queue on the 10 things you learned as a flower farmer. They didn't tell you, whatever. And I was laughing all the way through it. And I at that time, I think you were only in your second year.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was, almost 20 years in. And I think I sent you a message saying something like, and I never responded to anybody ever. And I just said, don't worry, it gets better. Thanks for the laughs or something like that. And then that's how we kind of started. So enter 2020. I was calling up my seed supplier to get seeds, and he only had 50,000 on hand. And I said, well, when can I get the other, 300,000? And he's like, I don't have any more coming. And everybody and their brother's son started growing gardens that year because of the pandemic. And in a panic, I called another seed supplier I knew, but I hadn't used in 12 years. And thank goodness they said, yeah, they would sell me some. I had to pay a higher price for them. Obviously, supply and demand, but I wasn't out of the game. And right before I hung up the phone, I asked the gal taking my order, is there somebody here that's in charge of buying new products? And she asked why. And I said, well, I've kind of developed this new sunflower and never really thought about selling the seed, but is there somebody that might be interested? Because I'm thinking if I can't get more, flowers, or this pandemic goes on for a long time, I'm going to try to have to maximize what I have on hand to try to make income. So that began my kind of my rabbit hole travels down the seed, the seed industry. And the guy that got a hold of me was totally my champion. He saw these things and thought these are so cool. They're going to revolutionize the cut flower world, just the gardening world. And again, back to there, my brain was always thinking cut flowers, right?
Yeah.
So he comes out to my place. I drove up here from Chicago like the next week, ran all around looking at everything, taking pictures, super excited. We sent seeds out to California, and his company decided that they didn't really want to go this route yet because it wasn't quite finished enough, and they wanted to go spend their energy somewhere else. Totally understand, whatever, it's their prerogative. I was a little crushed by it because I thought, oh, cool, this is my holy grail to get out of, not having to worry about having to have cup flowers all the time if I have seeds too. I woke up at 2 a.m. on the very next day of getting this news that they weren't going to grow my flowers, and Florette popped into my head. And I had never thought of Florette. I'd heard you mention her several times, the gal, Danielle on North Lawn Flower Farm. Is that what hers is? Anyway, she mentioned it too. And so I'm like, who is it? And I Googled Florette, and I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like our family started doing farmers markets and all that. And so I sent her some pictures, and I think I told you, at the time I had no idea. She's the boss when it comes to flowers. I mean, she was like the, quintessential person of knowing about, cut flower world and seeds and stuff. And anyway, total surprise, she got back to me and called me up. We had like a 2 hour conversation. I mean, it was just like we hit it right off. And she agreed to grow some of my flowers that year, and as a trial and see how they went. And things went really good. And then she called me out in the middle of summer and started kind of convincing me that I can sell these on my own. I don't need to have somebody else sell them. And I was like, no, I know how to do cut flowers. I know how to do breeding. I know how to do market. I don't know how to do the seed thing. And anyway, she prompted me enough and gave me enough encouragement to do it. And so after 22 years of cut flowers, I basically decided this last growing season was my last year of growing annual cut flowers.
What was that like
for
you? Knowing that was the end of your cut flower years, was that a little bit of a relief or a little bit of a, I might miss this, or a combination? What was that like?
When I actually shot video of it, because I said to several people, I wished I'd have known 15 years ago when I started doing this flower. I wished I'd have documented it and kind of had the history of it. And so a lot of it's by memory, and I've had some happenstance happen, some weird things happen where I'm surprised I'm still doing it. But I actually videoed myself loading the last bucket of flowers. I don't know how many flowers there's over the years. I can't imagine. It's
Millions.
in the millions,
yeah.
Right? Put it in there, and it drove to the customer. And I'm glad she wasn't there, because she probably would have got dust in her eyes and would have been, all whatever. I might have gotten dust in my eyes too. Anyway, I delivered them, and actually there was hardly anybody there in the warehouse, nobody that I knew. And I put them there, and I kind of looked around, and I closed the door on the van, and it was a relief. But as I drove out of the parking lot, I looked back, I was kind of sad. But on the other hand, I thought, it's because of this that I'm going to get to do this now.
Yes.
So it was bittersweet. I'm super excited though, because doing this for so many years, it kind of wears on your body, getting up at 2, 3 in the morning and staying up till 10 or 11 every night for 12 weeks on end during the cut season. But when you're actually cutting, then you throw in the planting season and the post planting. It's you do that for 22 years, it kind of wears you out. So I'm excited. I made a lot of new friends in this, through the internet, through you, kind of coercing me and kicking and screaming, going on the internet and getting on Instagram.
Yeah.
Was a big trial for me, but I've been so pleasantly surprised by all the great outpouring of support. People willing to support the little guy, buy local, or buy just from a guy who, saw something and nurtured it and grew it, and not some big company that, produced it in the labs, mass producing it, selling it all over the world. So it's been a great experience. Going from cut flowers to this, I think it's going to be just a great new chapter of my life.
Yeah, I'm excited for
And what about you? What about you? Going
Nothing's
from cut
going
flowers
on.
and stuff. Yeah, to a nursery. Holy smokes.
Yeah, we just kind of fell into it. It was something that I had been driving by my whole life,
Mhm.
and I just kind of felt drawn to it. And one thing led to another, and I kind of took over this nursery in little old Boonville, New York, and we are renovating it with the complete support and help from my family. And I know
Oh, I
that
can
you know what that's like.
Yeah, that's awesome. I see that when I see some of your videos, you got a cousin doing this and your husband doing that and breaking walls and your mom in there all the time painting and people help.
Yeah.
It's to have family or friends like that help. And same thing with me. My family there's no way I'd be doing this without them. I mean, there was so many Friday nights spent in the garage making bouquets to make it to the
Yeah.
flower or farmers markets, every Friday night, every Friday night, every Friday night. I still remember, because my girls at that time were starting to get in late middle school, early high school. Well, you know what Friday night is? That's football games,
Oh yeah,
right?
those are football nights.
Well, not for my girls. They were in the garage making, bouquets with flowers. So when when I finally landed these couple big, really big accounts, commercial accounts where they were going to take, 200, 300 bouquets guaranteed, we'd have to sit there all day. And I told the girls, so we do them on Thursday, make one delivery. We don't have to do it again until next Thursday. And you guys get to go, see your friends. They're like, yay. That was the first really good thing with the family. And then I always, Aaron mentioned in Florette, they used to call it Frostmas. When frost comes and wipes everything out, the
Yeah.
kids, she said her kids would go so excited. Same with mine. My kids would be like, great, we get to see dad again. So I think with the seed company, I'll be able to be more involved with our camp, our Christian Youth Summer Camp that we have, because it's not as time intensive with perishables.
Mhm.
So that'll be a good thing. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm playing the back nine now. Finished the front nine. Now I'm playing the back nine.
There you go. So
Yeah.
tell me about speaking of your camp, you did this past spring, you did a fundraiser for
Yeah.
the camp, and that is how people were able to get a hold of your seeds for the first time, really, other
Right.
than just a couple of us. Now there were hundreds of people around the country really growing them. And what do you plan for this spring? What are the options for people to get a hold of your seeds?
Yeah. So like as you mentioned through Jess of Roots and Refuge, I did a podcast with her and kind of reached out to her folks because at the time I think I had about 13,000 followers. She's got what 500,000. So
Yep.
I kind of reached out to her folks and I did a pre-sale. The Van Gogh's Fantasy is a mix. It's a mix of every genetic I've ever grown to get the flowers I'm getting. So every year I plant an entire field of this, looking for those new one-offs, those 3 or 4 flowers that are so different than everything else that I want to try to take out of that field and scale up. So everything that's left in that field, I collect all the seeds on those still and plant them out to get again the next year, looking for the next new greatest latest thing. So what I did last year was I had to keep enough back for planting for this last year, enough for if we have a disaster, actually like I had this year,
Yes.
and then sell some. So I did a pre-sale of those. So we sold. Our goal was 1,000 packets. We actually exceeded that, and then we planted a forest. Everybody that bought a packet of seeds, if we hit 1,000 packets of seeds, we actually wanted buying 2,000 trees, little seedling trees,
Yep.
and planted them up at our camp up north. So that's called the Legacy Forest. So now those seeds that were part of that sale next year or last year, those are actually going to be on sale in April this year, with no big promotional thing. Those will be per packet. And what I'm doing this year, actually in a couple of weeks, is I'm doing something called a bundle sale. I'm bundling this hat that I'm wearing here with the Van Gogh's Fantasy mixed seeds, as well as a new flower that I've been working on called Lemon Drop. It's a really light lemon colored, fully double, is what I'm shooting for. But at this point, it's still the mixed field.
Mhm.
Everything in that field, I shouldn't say everything, 99% of what you're going to get out of there is going to be a lemon one. You might get an offshoot every once in a while. You get those rogue genes,
Yep.
but for the most part, it's called a lemon drop. I'll send you a picture and you can post it.
Mhm.
Um, it's called the lemon drop mix. So again, that's what we're doing. I'm not going to be selling those lemon drops until 2024. So
Okay.
it's somebody's chance to get the first shot at I'm getting this year, and
In
we're
the
only having
bundle.
1,000. Yeah, so you got a hat, Van Gogh's Fantasy, and the lemon drop mix for the bundle sale this year. And that all the funds from that are going to help me convert my barn into a seed cleaning and packaging facility versus a cut flower barn. And
Okay.
also I'm having a guy actually out on the East Coast. He's making me a custom made seed packing machine, which is pretty dang expensive, but it's state of the art and it's going to be really cool once I get it. But the funds from those flower sales, and that's why I did the early sale of the lemon drop, was to be able to try to raise funds, maximize and leverage what I have now so that I can have facility to package seeds for next year.
Right now it's US sales, but maybe international in the future.
Yeah, right now as a small little guy like me, it's really hard to jump through all the red tape and the hoops and stuff. And I'm currently in discussions with a couple different people about having them help me have them do the heavy lifting to get some of that stuff out of the way to be able to do that. But in the near future, no. I can only ship domestically. That being said, and we talked about this before, I got several pictures back this year from countries that are not within the lower 48 or even, Alaska or Hawaii that I got one from Pakistan and I got another one from geez, where was it? It was somewhere over, I want to say Istanbul, but that's not right. But anyway, I got pictures saying, Sunflower Steve, look how great your flowers grew here in Pakistan. I'm like, that's great. I didn't sell to Pakistan, but thank you.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a relative coming to visit you.
There you go.
So, and then I've got a couple other big things I'm working on that I'm not at liberty to say right now. Some really cool things. Like I say, the internet and social media has opened up a whole new world to me, a whole new group of peers, a whole new group of people supporting you and knowing, somebody that knows somebody that gets you in touch with somebody out of the blue and things that if I had been here my whole life as a regular farmer without the internet, never would have been open to me.
I feel the exact same way about the nursery. If I didn't have the support from the whole entire gardening community, I don't know if I would have taken that step. I don't know if it would have happened. And then I've got people like you and Jess and Becky from Acre Homestead all wanting to come to like the nursery grand opening and stuff. Everyone is just such a beautiful, really community, the whole gardening world. It's really just been awesome to be a part of it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about that earlier. I mean, our connection at first was cut flowers, and you talk about gardeners. I had no idea how many people out there grew flowers just to, grow them like 25 or 30 of them in a garden for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So over the years, I've been cutting down some really cool looking flowers that were not what I wanted in that field. And I couldn't bag them off and then plant them somewhere else next year, but I'm just throwing them on the ground. And I think it was after one of our first videos, people were like, no, don't throw that on the ground. So I actually do have a whole mixed line I'm starting right now of just for gardeners. I mean, mostly be single petal ones, but the colors are all over the board.
Yeah.
I mean, I got these really cool chocolate ones. That one, the unicorn one this year, boy, at that one, I'm not holding my breath on it, but I did get viable seeds out of it.
Good.
And then then the unicorn's little sister, that one had 0 seeds on it, which was so disappointing. And that's been one of the hardest things to grow this type of flower is that they just don't produce a lot of seed. I've learned a few things, what to look for in the ones that do have a lot of pollen and how to, to move that along to try to scale up something I do like. But even there, I've had times where I think, oh, I've got tons of good seeds and I grow them next year. Now a single one looks like the parent. And you're like, oh, I just wasted 3,000 square feet. And
and that's why it's taken you 15 years really to do this. It's not something that somebody can do overnight.
No. And then who'd have thought foliage? I mean, who thought people would be so excited about foliage? I had the variegated ones I started with last year that this year went crazy exponential on me, were far exceeded. My expectations were so low because of some other failures I've had. And I did this thing thinking, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, right out of the ground, they were variegated. It's like, holy cow. And then I had those 20 or 30 in that one field that had the purple foliage.
Yeah.
Did you see?
Oh, those were gorgeous too.
And most of those flowers want to be really dark themselves, but just to look at a different color foliage until the flower blooms, it was something interesting. So I'm learning as I go too.
Cool. Yeah, you'll have to send me pictures and I'll put them up for people to see of all these ones you're talking about. Yeah.
And if they want to jump on my Instagram, throw them to my Instagram, and then if they want to join my newsletter, you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So there are 2 ways really to be in constant contact with Steve. No, but you can follow along with what Steve is doing. He's got an Instagram page and that is like at sunflower_Steve. Is that how it is? We'll put in the link to the description below.
Yeah.
And then we have your website, which is where people can sign up for your newsletter to get updated on when, like, for example, when the bundle sale is going to be. They can go right to your website and check it out. And then on Instagram too, they'll be notified when the bundles become available, stuff like that. Yeah.
And
I'll put all that information in the description.
Yeah. And like I say, I'm not a big newsletter guy. It's going to be as I have a sale. Or
I'm not going to get 3 emails a day from you.
No, you're not.
No, maybe once every couple months.
If you want to, I can especially put one on and send it every single day to you to annoy you.
Do an
Okay.
auto email.
Right. But it's more or less so I can capture your email in case something happens to my Instagram account
Yeah.
or something happens, I don't own Instagram or you don't own YouTube. If something happens and that goes down, you can still retain the person you've had contact with by having their email.
Yeah.
And I never saw it that way before. I just thought, these people want to get my email to send me all kinds of garbage. But it's actually, if you sign up for it, it's because you want to get the stuff from me.
Yeah, it's
So,
security too. And like you said, in case your Instagram gets hacked or something like that, you'll have the contact information for all the people who want to follow you so you can get a hold of them and say, hey, well, that you can find me
yeah,
here now, maybe have a different Instagram or whatever. So
as,
yeah, I
as you
never
have
thought
it,
of it like that.
yeah, as you
What's
have
that?
experience with that. I said, as
I've
you
been,
have
I've
experience with it.
been, I've not been hacked. I've been duplicated. So
That's
fake
right.
accounts have come up, and that's terrifying to me. Like it'll be my picture with my name, and it's not me. It's really, you have to be really secure with yourself on the internet because people will hack everything.
Yeah, like I say, that's the bad side of the good side of it for me is there's been so much upside. I wished I'd have done it sooner.
Yes.
Thank you for dragging me onto it.
What about that Sunflower
Oh,
Seed YouTube channel? What about that?
yeah, I've heard that a lot. Um, I've thought about it, and now that this year I'm going to be just doing seed production, I may have more time for it. And if I did do it, it might be one a week, if that. Um, I know how much work it is just to do the Instagram. And even that they changed it. When I first started doing Instagram, just put a picture up, a description, go. And it's like, well, now you got to do reels. I'm like, reels? What the heck? So
Mm-hmm.
now,
Well, it's
and
good practice for YouTube.
I do reels totally backwards because I shot video and pictures all summer long with no intention of how they're going to be used. So
Yes.
now I'll scroll through and I'll look for a music, something that's trending or something that would fit. And I'm like, then I go back to try to find the pictures that fit it. I don't do it. I don't do it the other way.
Yes,
So
that's a good theory though, because they always say to choose the music is important when you choose because it's more likely to be shown in the feeds of others if you pick the right song.
yeah,
Yeah.
but and also you'll see if you sign up for my newsletter, like I said, it'll be once in a while, and I'll put new and upcoming things in there. And some of the new flowers I'm working on. I mean, I've got some of these dark chocolate ones. Like I say, I've got the unicorn one. I've got that wicked bud one. I've got so many cool ones that hopefully potentially be coming up. And if you're part of the newsletter, you're going to hear about it there first, versus Instagram, because not everybody has Instagram.
Right.
And I was reminded by several people that said, "Hey, my brother follows you on Instagram. I don't. Can you?" Because I was doing some giveaways to Instagram
Yes.
people, and they're like, "Well, I'm not on Instagram." I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to figure out how to give it to the people on my newsletter. So anyway, that's where you're gonna hear stuff. The most you'll hear stuff on Instagram, but all the details will probably be just mostly in the newsletter.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
What what are the couple of years? What do you see happening over the next couple of years here with the Sunflower Steve Seed Company?
Um, we go on vacation in a few weeks here. We've been doing it for 20 years. We've always prioritized the family vacation, even when we almost couldn't afford it, just so we always had time with our kids when we were little, and we're still doing that. So when I go on vacation, I'm really going to sit there and just kind of think about where I want it to go.
Mhm.
I do foresee bringing in somebody else, family member or something like that, to help transition to being just a seed company and doing a few other projects that I'm kind of wanting to do that I couldn't do because of the perishable and high turnaround of cut flowers. So I think just doing more and more breeding. I'm working, like I say, not working with, I'm in negotiations with a couple of people about doing collaborations together. I don't ever fully intend on just turning my stuff over to somebody and saying, here, you do it.
Right.
Let's say that, circumstances always change, but in the near future, I want to be in control of pretty much everything, and just bring in more and more new flowers. I mean, this year I had so many cool one-offs. It's so funny. I post the unicorn. I'll send you a picture of the
Yes.
unicorn. You know what it looks like, but and people are like, oh, can I get those seeds? I'm like, yeah, I've got like 42 of them for myself. So
There's 42.
like in 2029, if all goes well, I'll send you some.
Yeah.
So,
Are there any special projects that you're really excited about coming up?
some real cool breeding things I'm working on, and then possibly I've been thinking, I've been doing this so long and have a lot of different things I've done that I've done well at and been really crappy at, but I'm contemplating writing a book. I may have time now to do that.
That would be
Um,
amazing.
I actually just endorsed Jill from Whispering Willow Farm. She is coming out with a book pretty quick here, and I got to pre-read it. And of course, Jessica's had a book, and then of course Aaron's got several best time New York Times best-selling books. So I've kind of wanted to, but you just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And then during the winter, when the kids were growing up during the winter, all I did was chase them around to all their activities. So I never had time. So I think, like I say, when we go to Florida pretty soon here, I'm going to kind of think about exactly where I want the company to go, and then some of the personal things I want to get done. Some of the personal things I want to, get started on, because if you never start them, you're obviously never going to finish them. So, possibly a book. Who knows?
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, might be about sunflowers. I don't know.
Maybe.
Fighting chance.
By Sunflower Steve. You don't say.
Yes.
Oh, very cool. Is there anything
I
else
forgot.
you
I got to
want to
send you those royalty checks for my logo name, right?
That's right. Just 5%. No big deal.
Okay. 5% of nothing. 5% of nothing. I can do that.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. So anything else you want to mention before we say goodbye here?
No, I'm just again, thanks for all the support from everybody that's been following me and joining along and seeing, coming along on a journey. And thank you for your support, all you folks out there. I've tried to give as much grace and gratitude as the people who have helped me along with this. You and Jess and Jill and of course Aaron and Aaron the Impatient Gardener, all the people out there that plugged for me and sent people my way. And it's been really, really cool. And I just I'm glad that I made the leap, and I'm glad I made that one little message to you. It's been 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 years ago, that little
yeah.
message I sent to you, and then you didn't just think, oh, it's some creepy guy trying to pick me up or whatever.
Well, I did at first. I did
Did
at
you?
first. No, I did. No, it was the hydrangea picture, Steve. If you never sent me that hydrangea picture, I would have scrolled by. No.
Okay.
But
No.
yeah, that was it for me. I was like,
Okay.
I had stars in my eyes and I said, what? Okay.
And now you've got a huge hedgerow of them.
I do.
But you wait
own.
you wait till 2 years from now. You mean, what was I thinking?
I'm already thinking that because they're already, their first year, they were 4 feet tall. And so I don't even know how much I should trim them this year. I think I'm just going to take like 18 inches off of them.
Yeah.
So
let them. I'd leave a couple long ones in each one just so you have something that's got established foliage that can right away start making photosynthesis. Because if all of a sudden you get a dry spring and they're trying to grow all new stuff and those roots are down there trying, they're having a hard time trying to support what's there. So I'd leave a little bit up, but no, but 2 years from now, when you get those sunrises or sunsets on those things, you're going to have some amazing pictures.
I'm so excited about that. All inspired by that email 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. So, well, thanks so much for getting hold of me and getting caught up. Like I say, we haven't seen each other face to face for a long time. I've threatened to come out there, but it's never been in the cards.
I know. Just so you know, of all those people that you just mentioned, Aaron from Impatient Gardener, Florette, Jess, Jill, me, who's the only one that we haven't actually seen each other face to face. Just me.
I was gonna say it's because you live so darn far away, but
I know.
You're about the same as Aaron Benzakin. So
I've map quested it. It's like a 17-hour drive.
Yeah.
I would actually have to swim across a Great Lake.
Well, truth be told, the time I can come to see you, it's the same as it is here. So why would I want to go to more of this?
I know you don't want to come leave the snow to come see more snow.
Yeah, 9 inches a day. My daughter got her 6th snow day of the year.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, our kids got let out
maybe it's a little nicer out. I'll come visit you.
Well, we do have grass. It's raining right now, but we're gonna get snow tonight. So.
Well, I'm only coming if I get 10% off at the nursery.
You'll have to join the membership.
Okay. All right.
All right, Steve. Thank you so much.
Yeah, take care. See ya.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks guys for hanging out with Steve and I today. I will put links below to all of the other videos where Sunflower Steve and I caught up, and there are probably 8 to 10 videos that Steve and I did over the past 1.5 years or so. I'm actually starting my ranunculus right now, and I'm hoping to record a video about that for you guys and have something this weekend. I've got actually 4 or 5 videos that I just have to sit down, put together, and get out to you guys. It's just been so busy in a good way, not in a bad way. Thanks guys for sticking around. We'll see you soon. I'm going downstairs, Steve. I'll be back in 30 seconds. I just put a K-cup of coffee on. I'm gonna go grab it.